Good evening, guys. Happy Saturday to all of your sunshiny faces. It does not feel like a Saturday. It feels like some weird Friday football day, but on a Saturday. So to start off with, guys, we ended up going, well, I woke up at 4:30 this morning, I think. I don't think I fell asleep until almost 2 o'clock. So, and then I woke up at 4:30. And then ended up going to the high school. They ended up doing breakfast. They did like bagels and like granola bars and fruit and like that kind of stuff. And then ended up going to, then we got on the buses about 6, I think 6, close to 6:30 I think was actually when we left. Then we ended up driving 3 hours away or so to this little town that we ended up using their football field to kind of do a walkthrough, stretch the kids out before we actually got to the field and all that kind of stuff, take bathroom breaks, do that kind of thing. The coach there was so nice, and I guess it was our head coach's, he played for him, or that coach was the offensive line coach when he played in college or something like that. I don't know. Maybe they coached together. I don't know exactly how they knew each other, but somehow he knew him, and he just happened to be like at the 3-hour mark. And so we ended up doing a little like layover kind of thing there. Then we end up getting back in the bus. We end up driving another hour about, so it was a 4+ hour drive to the school that we were playing for the playoffs. And so then we got there. We got there around a little over 2 hours earlier than when the game actually started, which, like, typically you want to be there at least an hour before the game starts. And again, too, because our kids had been in the bus for so long, you know, and like all that kind of stuff, they kind of wanted to get them, again, out and moving around and that kind of thing before, again, you know, like I said, kind of stretched out, get in the locker rooms. Like, all of them had like pajamas and stuff like that on, like lounge clothes. So, like, you know, again, to give them time to get dressed, get ready, again, hang out, do whatever, you know, that kind of thing, just before they had to actually kind of get ready for the actual, like, game. So then we ended up getting to the game, and the game overall didn't turn out in our favor. The final was 44-14, which we scored the last 2 touchdowns, so I think it was 44-0, and then, like I said, we scored 2 in the fourth quarter. But it was, you know, like, honestly, I think it was the drive. I think it had a lot to do with the kids were just tired. Like, that's just kind of what it looked like, and that's kind of what my dad was saying too, like with certain, again, players and stuff like that, like players that are not normally like lazy or don't normally like do things, you know, like not full out, you know, kind of things, were like very not like themselves kind of thing. So it was just like, my dad kind of said that he noticed that, you know, and it was just, it was a tough situation when you're up at 4:30, possibly some of them 4 o'clock for maybe a handful of them, you know, in the morning, to then have to leave to go and play a 2 o'clock game on a Saturday. And then we didn't get home until 10 o'clock at night. We got back to the school, I think, finally. So it was just a long day. And again, too, to go and play a football game, where also too, it was cold out, and it was also raining, which was a whole nother thing too. My camera, which everything ended up pretty much going fine. We did the camera battery at one point, ended up needed to be replaced a little bit before halftime, which tends to be right at the time. It's almost the same time. It's like right at the end of the second quarter. There'll be like 5 minutes left is when the battery goes out. So it's like, we can't get to halftime, and if we could ever get to halftime and then need to change the battery out, that would be like perfect. But I think that it's draining a little bit faster because it's been cold, because I noticed we didn't have that problem a couple times during the like earlier games, you know, when it was warmer out. So that could be why, and the cold's just kind of zapping those batteries a little bit faster. But the only other problem was that then it was raining on top of it too. So it was just, it was cold, it was raining. We needed to also get my camera down at one point to try and put like a like rain cover kind of over it. And then also to the like, I had the screen, and so I had my my rain jacket, but then I also had my umbrella, but I couldn't like use the umbrella because the I couldn't hold it and use the you know, on the pad to zoom in and zoom out and move the camera around and stuff like that, and hold it at the same time too, because it was a little breezy. And that was the thing we were saying too, was that like I dressed warm enough where I wasn't cold, but when the wind would blow, it'd be really cold. And there was like twice where I was holding the umbrella and I was like, I don't have a good grasp on it, like I kind of had it like, you know, under my chin kind of thing, whatever. And so the way I was like holding it, I was like, one good breeze and it's gonna take this umbrella and blow it across the field. I was like, I'm not about to go and chase it down and to get to like that whole kind of thing. So like, you know, while they're playing a football game and have my umbrella go blown out on the football field. So I ended up deciding to put that away, but right around the time I decided to put it away, about 2-3 minutes after that, it actually stopped raining. And that was around the time we finally got all of the like stuff, kind of camera equipment all like covered up and everything like that. So it did rain for a little bit, but not too long. But again, too, like, you know, and again, both teams had to play in the crummy weather. It's just one team had to, you know, get up at 5, you know, or 4 o'clock in the morning and then drive 4 hours away. And then, like I said, you know, it was just a whole combination of all of that. I think our kids were just not set up very well for that. But we were the lower seed, so we had to go and play away at their school, which, like I said, was 4 hours away. So that's what happens when, you know, you're playing the school that, you know, has a higher seed than you, which was what, you know, like I said, ended up happening. So it stinks. Like, I don't know though, it's kind of, I don't want to say there's a peace, but there, like, we kind of, like my dad was saying it too, like Jack, like we're all kind of at peace, even though again too, it was really tough, it was really difficult, especially for those seniors, like all that kind of stuff, you know, for this to be their final game. But they also accomplished something that hasn't been done in 21 years, which is, you know, like I said, when you look back on that, it's like you're going to be written, you know, your name's going to be written about, your class, your, you know, this football season is good, you know, in the history books. And so like that whole kind of thing is, I think, very, you know, again, like unique in the sense of it wasn't just a failed season, it wasn't just another season of us not, you know, only winning one game in a season, which is how the last 4 or 5 years have went. We've only won one game, and this is the first year we won 5 and made it to the playoffs, like in 21 years. So like I said, when you couple all of that kind of together, it's like this was, even though again too, we could have won today, you know, like I said, maybe things been a little bit different. Like I genuinely don't think that this team was as good as the 3 kind of elite teams that are in our conference right now. My dad was kind of saying the same thing too, and we gave them, I don't want to say we gave them games, but like we were able to stop them certain points on defense. We were able to move the ball against them on offense. Like today, we couldn't do that, and this team did not look like they were better than those other 3 teams that we were able to do that kind of stuff against. So, you know, and play competitive, more competitive football than it kind of was today. Even though again too, Matthew was even pointing out the record, or the score at the end of the game today, 44-14, was actually one of the better scores as far as in the playoffs go. Most teams ended up getting blown out. So like one of the teams, the team that actually beat us the second to last regular season game, got blown out 70 or 78 to nothing. So we ended up keeping it a more competitive game. And it's funny too, because if we would have beaten them, we would have had a different seed, you know, like pairing, versus if they would have lost, they would have maybe not played the team that ended up beating them 70 whatever to nothing. So like I said, it's kind of, it comes down to that. So again, our game was more competitive than the team that was actually higher than us that could have possibly been in our same position. So again too, it's just when you kind of look at that, and like I was saying too, just kind of still the positives, and like my dad was saying, it's like a stepping off point. It's now, you know, like the norm is going to be to make it to the playoffs. Like that is, you know, going to be our goal, is going to be, you know, and what we strive for, you know, like as a, you know, again, the football community kind of, and, you know, again, the staff, and that's what the, you know, football program is going to be, you know, aiming for. It's not like, oh, let's just get our one win in the season and call it a year, you know, kind of thing, which really what it was. It was like, you know, we'll beat this team, maybe we'll beat this team this year, you know, whatever. And that's, like I said, really what it was for the last 4 or 5 years pretty much. And so now we've won and made it to playoffs. That's our goal every year, is to get those 5 wins at least, to make it back there every year, if not more. So again, which the season next year could potentially be that, which would be nice. So again, overall though, I think the kids had a really, really good season, even though again too, it didn't end the way they wanted it to. But again, they got a whole extra game, which is something that for 21 years none of those other kids have been able to say, which, like I said, I think is a really cool thing, and something to kind of, you know, be proud of yourself on, even if the outcome today wasn't necessarily what you wanted. When you look at the season as a whole, you know, it kind of stinks, because it is kind of too like that, you know, if you make it to the, you know, the Super Bowl, you know, and you're the team that loses, you're not the team that gets first, you're the team that loses. And so even though you can be like, look at, we made it to the Super Bowl, we got second place, it's like, yeah, but we still lost, you know, to get second place. And so that's the thing that's kind of stinks about that, is that, you know, you were, you know, the second best team that year, but you lost to get it. And that's kind of the same thing too. We were, you know, again, 5-4 on the year, as far as season record goes, but, you know, that, you know, playoff game, we don't win. And now, you know, like I said, it's, you know, you look at that like that was the loss, you know, even though the rest of the season was, you know, really the positive. But it was a really long day today too, and like I said too, then the bus ride home, we didn't get home until about 10 o'clock, and now too, my sinuses are all just horrible because of the rain, being out in the cold, also too, being out in probably just the country, like, allergy kind of, like, you know, air and stuff like that, from, like, you know, all of the pollen and like everything too, because it was so windy, it was so rainy, it was just, and everything's like, you know, it's just the fall weather. I like everything in my throat, my nose, everything. And like, I know I'm not getting sick because this literally came on right as soon as I got back onto the bus, and it is not like progressing into anything else. It's just hanging here. Like, if I know I'm getting sick, it gets worse within a couple hours once I start like feeling symptoms, and this is not it. Like, it's not getting worse, and so I'm like, but it's not getting better. Now I'm like, that's when I know it's normally allergies, and it's like a really bad like allergy kind of thing or something. And on top of that too, the drastic change that we had in temperature, where it was 70 something degrees yesterday and today it was 49, I think, or 48 or whatever. You know, we also, which isn't super, super drastic, but like, I was wearing a t-shirt yesterday and I was bundled up today. So, like I said, that's where we are with the weather situation, and that was just crummy today. Like, it would have been nicer to have played yesterday. But anyways, I'm going to take a much needed shower, warm up a little bit because I am chilly, and wash off from the day because I'm just also too like, I don't know, just gross. Like, from sitting out in the rain and like all kinds of stuff, and then having to sit on the bus and like not being in my car and just, you know, like in my, I don't know, surroundings and kind of stuff like that. I want to, like I said, just clean the day off and relax and take a shower and then get to bed. So I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see y'all very soon, shiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.